we're excited. We're excited to get it off and running. 3 weeks. The girls have been working extremely hard, and it's a new year, new season, and intensity's been up in practice, and they're excited for opening day against Denver.
Scott, we talk about it every year about the schedule and the league, and that kind of give us a quick synopsis of how difficult it is this season, and it's fun, it's challenging, but that's what you want.
Yeah, it's a gauntlet. I think it's the easiest way. Like when you got three of the top four teams in the nation in our conference, and then opening up against a top 10 team in Denver. So we're challenging the girls right away to be ready. And it's, you don't want to always peak too early, but you got to be ready right on day one. Because that opening weekend, you look at Colorado, they're usually an at-large team or on the bubble to get in right around where we are for the NCAA tournament, which is obviously a goal for us. And there really isn't any easy ones throughout our schedule from our 16, 17 games.
I have a question for all three, if you don't mind answering, ladies. In the time that you all have been playing lacrosse, the rules have changed dramatically. Coach, in the time that you've been coaching, the rules have changed dramatically. Not many other collegiate sports have rule changes, just with the shot clock and with the division of halves to quarters. What works in your favor, and what has been a big adjustment?
I think what works for us is how willing the NCAA and the lacrosse community has been to adapt to if they see something happen one year. They're like, oh, we can make that more efficient, and to keep the game super efficient and allow us to, not really rely on the refs and more of us playing. And so I think that's been really beneficial. And this year with they're kind of using the replays and stuff. I think that'll also add a different element and allow us to really keep the game honest and consistent.
For how it benefits us, we have a great sports science team who really gears us towards playing for quarters instead of halves now. So I think our team is really energized all the time for the high intensity play that we play during those quarters and how quick the game has become. And I think our sports science team, as I said, they really gear us towards those games.
Yeah, and I think just adding making it fan and TV friendly. Okay, it's been a long go to get our sport showcased on TV, and just making the overall fan enjoy our sport and watch our sport, because it wasn't too long ago they'd be watching and there'd be so many whistles, and what was that call? That looked like an athletic play, but it was a foul. So just growing, being the fastest growing sport in America, and the NCAA is just growing with the times, and it's just making it more friendly to be on TV and for the viewership, which is great.
Yes, for both Ashley and Maggie, what was it that brought you to Louisville to play for Scott Teeter, and some of the things that you've learned in the process and the journey?
Well, originally it wasn't going to come to Louisville, but the coaching staff was altered, and Scott Teeter is a great coach, and so is Kay and Renee at the time. I couldn't turn down the offer to play in the ACC and play it right in my backyard. I've learned so many different things about so many different defenses, offensive clears. I've learned how to really value the ball and play as a team player. And because when you get to college, it's not all about you anymore. You're on a team full of really good girls, and it's awesome to learn how to adapt to that and play to my strengths and play to my teammates' strengths.
So I was recruited under Kelly, and I think what just brought me here is the luxury to stay in your backyard and to be in the top conference and to continually play against the nation's top players. Continues to drive me and motivate me and push me to be the best player that I am, regardless if we might not have the best season. I'm still growing and continuing to be the best player that I am.
So, Coach, it kind of looks like you've created a nice backyard for your players, if nothing else here. But one of the things that I think we look at each year is who you're bringing in, the recruits that are coming in. They seem to be getting steadily better each season. Just kind of talk about the class that's coming in this year.
Yeah, it's just using, uncovering every stone. Okay, obviously, like we're all the way west coast to Seattle, California, okay, to Florida, to the hotbed of the East Coast, and Maryland, Long Island region is as well. But then also using we got two girls from the Japanese national team to go along with our Canadian national team players. So really, it's worldwide recruiting now. And really bringing and narrowing it down to 8 or 9 to 10 girls per class, but then being selective, making sure it's a two-way street, that there are fit and we're their fit. To grow the level of recruit. And early on, our roster was depleted. So our roster was depleted, so we were trying to get a lot of bodies in there as well. But now our roster is up to almost 40, and now it's really being position specific in the recruiting game and bringing the best. And when you're going up against North Carolina, Syracuse, familiar Northwestern, like some top 5 programs with consistency and consistently in the recruiting process, it's a good thing. Okay, we're not winning many of them, but we're winning some of them, which is great.
And Scott, now that you have that roster, the numbers are there. You also have some experience as well. You've got some players back, and it's not all newcomers. How big of a difference is it? Kind of the makeup this year of you feel pretty good about the experience that you have.
Yeah, definitely the experience, and it starts with our defense. These two girls sitting beside me are like seniors, played a lot of lacrosse, came in right as freshmen. When we had that depleted, got the game experience right away and just kept on growing. The evolution of the 5th year because of COVID, okay, having a primary goal scorer in Hannah Morris stick around. Okay, for a 5th year, just as like we had the Blaylock sisters last year, they leadership experience, adding that extra player that logs a lot and scores a lot of goals for us, and then mixing them in with the talented like freshman class, and just the experience along the way. Okay, playing North Carolina, playing Syracuse. Okay, a lot of the girls have that valuable experience. Okay, right away, so it's not new. Before, when it was coming in, it was like we had to get them the experience, learning our systems, okay, and also playing with the depleted roster, going up against teams in the ACC that have the 35, 40 plus rosters, and we're around 20, 25. Okay, so we could hang with them, couldn't play for a whole 60 minutes. Okay, but now we can play and rotate and keep our girls fresher, to win the games on the line towards the end, to make the play.
We know your players that consistently perform and do well. Of some of your newer players or the newer additions to the roster, who should we be looking out for? Who should the community be ready to see have a breakout season?
Okay, you look at Nagai. Nagai coming from the Japanese national team, Kokoro's younger sister. Not only just bringing Nagai in, it's made Kokoro better. Okay, Kokoro coming in and being our first non-English speaking in the first language, and Kokoro's gained the confidence. And Nagai is one of our top line midfielders that you're going to see on the offensive end, playing with a girl with like Nicole Peroni. Okay, that Peroni's taking them under her wing, and Hannah in there. So definitely Nagai would be one to watch. And then you look at like Ryan Atkins for Columbus, Ohio, Upper Arlington product that played in the top high school program there. Is just like the true athlete that is going to dominate on both ends of the field and contribute right away for us.
You did make the schedule pretty difficult at the beginning of the year. You have to, don't you? I mean, because of what you're going to face in the ACC.
Yeah, you need to prepare yourself and that stuff, and you want to play the best schedule that you can and make sure that you're over 500. Okay, over 500 is the NCAA requirement to be eligible for the tournament, or win the ACC. Okay, and with Clemson and Pitt adding as regular season into the ACC. We lost 2 non-conference games, okay, but we still managed to keep the Ohio States, the Denvers, the Colorados, and then we get to play a Division II national champion of a couple years back in Lindenwood that just reclassified to Division I, okay, that we've played every year in the fall since I've been here.
Yes, for both Ashley and Maggie, when you speak with the younger players on the team, obviously, what are some of the things you talk about learning the Louisville style, the way things that are done here?
Honestly, like learning the Louisville style just comes with a lot of discipline and energy. We're a very energetic team, and I feel that the incoming freshman class, they're very motivated girls, and they listen to like the tactics that Coach Teeter has and like puts into play, and that Ashley and I help him portray to the younger girls, and they're very energized to like work hard, and their work ethic is there. So
For the Louisville way, I think it's important that we keep our expectations high so that no one gets complacent or they almost don't think they're better. They think they're better than the girls that are already on the team. So I think like making sure that the incoming class is aware of our expectations through discipline and overall intensity, it helps them to have a smoother transition towards game time. And so because ACC games are super intense and it is a lot of running, high expectations, thinking on the fly, and to practice that every single day and maintain that helps overall their transition.
As you ladies know, as the hometowners on the team, Louisville has not always been known as a lacrosse mecca. We're doing our best. We're trying to get there. We're not the Northeast. We're not the West Coast. How does it feel to watch the community grow in support as players that have played in this community for so long? Watching the public school system add, younger and younger lacrosse teams, watching the clubs outside of, organized play grow. How does that feel for both of you?
I think it's incredible. I think that allowing Maggie and I to be able to give back to the community now and be a part of that growth is really awesome, because now we can help each generation pass on our knowledge that we gain from all these coaches and like Teeter. And I think it's just crazy and super cool to see like the knowledge and how they can almost have an edge that we didn't have.
And I think it's also nice to have a coaching staff in Louisville that notices that Kentucky is not the biggest in lacrosse, and I think our coaching staff does a good job at giving back also to the community. And it's nice when our old coaches come and refer to Ashley and I, like, what could we do with this? Like, can we see some film? And, like, we give them some insights on how to be better, and they can give that also to their teams and to their players.
And Coach, to follow up with you on kind of the same topic, how do you recruit people to come to Kentucky when they're not like, well, lacrosse is even in Kentucky, I guess, at this point?
Yeah, it's definitely a challenge. Playing in the ACC definitely helps that, being the number one conference in there. And then once we get them to campus, it comes down to facilities. Okay, the facilities here at U of L are top notch. Okay, and once they get here and they hear what the women's lacrosse, what we're building here, and once we get them right here, we get a good chance once we get them on campus. But and one other thing is just giving back to the community, like in Kentucky, lacrosse is growing. Okay, and in the Midwest is growing, and just giving back, doing a little bit of programs. I think 8 or 9 of our players last year got trained for officials. Okay, they did 145 high school games last year. Okay, so you're just growing the officials, so it's growing the sport to make it easier on the local community and that stuff, and it's just to grow a little bit more. And we had some freshmen that followed their footsteps again, and just like giving back, and it's going to lead to more fans, more support. Okay, coming in, playing a couple games in our football stadium. Okay, as well. It's like one of the premier venues. So like when we go to a Boston college and we go into their football stadium, okay, it's nothing new for our players.
In speaking of the growing, you mentioned the Pitt and Clemson. What does that mean for the ACC to have the conference grow?
I can tell you, it's a difficult place to get to. I've never been there, but the travel and just putting all the planning, it's exciting. Okay, like to get to go to a new, like they got a great history there and tradition in their athletic department, and for them to invest in women's lacrosse just grows our sport even further. Okay, with us drawing them relatively earlier in the season and getting to go there for the first time, it will be intriguing. For a startup program with the fifth year transfers and the transfer portal, okay, it's going to be like Pitt. Like we got to be ready for them because they're not a true startup program that we're used to seeing as well. I think 19 freshmen, okay, and like 3 or 4 that have played in Power 5 schools as well.
I guess for both Ashley and Maggie, is there one team on that schedule when you take a look at it and say, these are the ones I really want to beat this year? Is there that one particular team you really look forward to playing and knocking off?
Mine's Duke. I want to beat them on our senior night. I have a lot of built-up anger against them, so.
I think the little rivalries that we've had over the years, like Vanderbilt and Ohio State, are always ones that I look forward to. Like we have to win, and I think that's honestly like a gauger too. Like if we are letting our emotions get in us, or if we're really having a bad game, like I just like to see like almost performance because we're expected to come out with a dub, and like if there's a breakdown, then like we kind of really work through that and stuff.
All good? All right, thank you.